Anna David.
And Lauren Wallet.
Anna David is a New York Times best-selling author of 8 books.
Stand by. Somebody's my tongue.
I fear it's mine.
Let me check my text.
Oh, man.
You might be muted. See? I didn't see the yellow. We're looking for a yellow color. Green there.
Lauren.
Let me see.
Nothing.
Nothing.
It was me. It says red now, hey?
It'll turn green.
Yes.
There it is.
An international lifestyle business coach and the SheEo of the creativity coach. That's what you want me to say?
Yes, please.
But it turns people's ideas into gold. This sounds weird with creativity coach.
Which helps people follow their creative convictions.
Okay.
Does that also sound weird?
We'll see.
Which
We'll
gives
see if
you
I can
confidence.
remember it.
All right, Kate, when you're ready.
Welcome to SheEo with Anna David.
And Lauren Wallet.
Anna David is the New York Times best-selling author of 8 books, and she's the SheEo of Light Hustle Publishing, which helps people take their stories and turn them into best-selling books.
Lauren Wallet, meanwhile, is an international lifestyle business coach and the SheEo of the creativity coach, which helps people maximize their creative conviction. She just made it up. Is that right?
I like it. We'll follow their creative convictions, but maximize is a great word.
Oh, yeah.
Creativity is like a slippery little thing, you know. It's hard to really pin down, but once you have it, it really can ignite your fuel and just give you success all around.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
We have an amazing guest today who we're just saying is one of the most likable people we've met, which is quite a weird thing.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. There's no pressure for her just to show you how amazing she is.
But usually it takes me, I decided 72 hours to decide if I like somebody when I meet them. But this one I decided I liked right away.
We both liked her and we approached her, which leads us into our theme for today.
A little bit it does.
I think it does,
Yeah.
which is...
Oh, how, when you are a business person, how do you know if your idea is viable? Do people want it? That is something, it is a mistake I have had to learn the hard way. So
Yeah.
I will say, I launched a program called How to Fall in Love with Yourself. And I have a book called, you
Wow,
don't even know
I
this
didn't
about me.
know this.
I had a book called Falling for Me that came out.
that.
I had spoken at colleges about this. I had every reason to believe this would be a successful program. Nobody bought it. And that's because my whole concept is I help people share their stories. How to fall in love with yourself has nothing to do with sharing your story. So I have learned since to stay on brand, even though I hate that word, and in the same vibe. So right now, normally I help entrepreneurs become best-selling authors. Now I decided I wanted to have a lower offering, which just means people who want to write their own memoirs, I will walk them through the process over a year. And I said, hey, I don't know if this is going to work. So I put the offer out there, and the first few people who emailed me, I said, I'm just going to be honest with you. If I don't get 10 people, then I'm probably not going to do this. And just being that honest, rather than trying to be like, oh my God, I'm just being flooded, I got 10 people, and then I got more.
I think it's a really great way to test it.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've noticed with myself, with all these different ideas that I come up with, is sometimes your one big idea gets broken down to something more potent and concentrated. So when I started with the Rebella project, it was about creating a movement for women's expression. And it goes through the 7 phases of the heroine's journey. What are the various expressions? The 5th expression is witch. And from which I wrote an article that went viral called Witches Rehab, which then became its own breakaway project, which is called Witches Rehab, the 12 Steps to Magical Reclamation. This has now over 4,000 people in the online coven, compared to poor baby Rebella, the mom, which has 1,600. I have not given up on the mothership.
Not too late for Rebella.
Not too late for Rebella. It just needs to be tweaked and repurposed and find its groove. And Rebella is now the self-mastery program, which walks women through the various expressions so that they can find their own, and from their own expression, birth their own project into the world, much like Witches Rehab has done for me. But it's a way to test it. And another way to test is also, if you've got an idea, put it out there on Instagram as its own channel and see, is there a community of people who want this content?
Yeah.
Are they biting? And you can tell if one's got 4,000 or one's got 1,000, what do people want more? Turns out magical reclamation for a start. So there's that.
If you're interested in joining my memoir program, there are still spaces available. Again, it's a year-long process where you'll end up with your memoir complete and the tools to make it a best-selling book by this time next year, this time meaning July 2019. So if you're interested in that, email me immediately, anna@annadavid.com, and I will get you an application.
And if you are a witch needing some magical reclamation, you can reach out to me at Witches Rehab. Or if you're looking to move through the 7 expressions of your own heroine's journey to arrive back to your truest version of yourself, then you can just reach out at Rebella Retreat online. It's an online retreat taking place over 7 weeks, also starting in July 2019.
July's a big month.
It's a big month.
Okay, can we get into our guest?
We totally can. And our guest today is Samantha Peshek. She's a 2008 Olympic silver medalist. She's a 3 times NCAA champion at UCLA, founder of Beam Queen Boot Camp, a gymnastic event to inspire girls to have more confidence in gymnastics and their life. And she's the host of I Have Cool Friends podcast. It's so great to have you with us.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. You guys are awesome.
Well, and you travel so much, so that's why this is a real get. When you're traveling, what are you doing?
Gosh, it just depends which season it is. This season, since it's the summer, it's Beam Queen Boot Camp season. We've kicked off the summer already with 2 events. The first one starting in Maine, the second one in Pittsburgh. So I just got back a couple days ago, and they were both very successful, sold out with a wait list. We inspired a lot of kids to have more confidence in the gym and in life. So it was a pretty successful start of the summer.
And where did this idea come from?
So I've been doing gymnastics camps since I've been 16, coaching them, and beam was my nemesis. I almost quit the sport because I hated beam. I used to like pray to God at night, like, dear God, if you love me, when I wake up in the morning, please let beam not be an event in gymnastics. And then every day I would be there, I'm like, God hates me. And then ironically, it became my best event and my favorite event. And I did a lot of soul searching and self-reflection when I graduated because I was really successful. I had 2 NCAA championships on the event that I hated. So I kind of went through my own journey of what was that shift like and how can I bring that to kids, because a lot of young gymnasts either quit the sport because of beam. I mean, flipping on 4 inches is really scary. That's just a fact. And so teaching them to have more confidence on the event and teaching them to really embrace and love the struggle, I think was something that I wanted to bring to gymnasts all across the nation and throughout the world.
And so, who can join? Would you have to be under a certain age? Do the parents apply?
Can we be Beam Queens?
I think it sounds terrifying, so I'm glad I can't.
Yeah, I've considered doing a boot camp for people that have never done gymnastics before, so maybe that will be in the works. But for right now, it's levels 3 and up. And so we get anywhere from age 6 to 17.
Wow.
So coaches can come also, and we also have a session that parents can sign up as well. So it's all encompassing, and we really just want to spread our philosophy of empowering, uplifting, and that underlying theme of confidence. Because I believe to be a successful, not just gymnast, but to be a successful person, right, you have to have confidence. And a lot of people discover that in college. So if young girls especially can understand how to build their confidence and have the tools and resources when they're not feeling good, or they're looking on Instagram and seeing all of these, Instagrammy models, like how can they dig deep and find their own confidence to be their best self every day? Again, in the sport of gymnastics, where I think you learn a lot of life lessons, and then that's very transferable to school and their personal life. So that's kind of what we do, and it's awesome.
So what is confidence, and how do you go about finding it?
So for me, confidence is that feeling, the underlying belief of I got this. Specifically in the sport of gymnastics, it's a subjective sport, and so young girls are getting judged trying to achieve perfection, which in our world with social media, that's so much of what we see in a day-to-day life. And so kind of trying to teach them, it's not really about perfection. It may be about the illusion of perfection, but when you walk up to get ready to compete, are you looking down? Are you, that nervous energy, like that is a nonverbal cues for being not confident. What does it look like when you meet somebody and you look them in the eye, your chest is up, your chin is up, you're presenting yourself. And yeah, that's great for the gym and for competing in gymnastics, but that's great for job interviews and meeting CEOs. And if you're going to, a business meeting, it's just a really good life skill. So
if you're coming on SheEo.
Yeah, if you're coming on, I gave myself a little pep talk. I'm like, I got to sit up straight. I got to keep my chin up. And this is what I tell my girls. So.
Well, that's the thing, is it's like, have you always been naturally confident? Like, you didn't have to learn this.
I feel like I have been more confident than most people, but in a sport like gymnastics where you're competing against your friends, trying to make the Olympic team, only 6 of us got picked for the Olympic team. And so you're competing with the best gymnasts in the country to make a spot on that team. So there's times, most often than not, where you don't feel great about yourself. I mean, we're practicing for 6 hours a day, and there's not one practice where I had a very perfect practice. So teaching yourself, it's okay to not be perfect. Take a deep breath, let's work on it. Let's get better, let's improve, rather than getting down on myself because I'm not being perfect, or I felt a little heavier that day, or I didn't think I looked that great in the leotard, or I had too much muscle, you know, that self-doubt and kind of compartmentalizing, because I think it's really impossible to eliminate that negative voice sometimes, especially as a young girl.
Or ever.
Yeah, or ever.
It like never goes away.
Right.
It gets better though.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does go away.
Yeah, maybe I haven't got there yet.
She's like, really?
Yeah.
There's time.
Yeah, I was like just texting my sister last night going, do you ever repulse yourself? Literally, and she's like, well, sometimes I don't feel good in my clothes. And I was like, oh, I guess it's just me then. I was just like lying in bed, just feeling like completely repulsed by who I was.
Even though yesterday I talked to you, you're like, I've never been happier.
Yeah, but then it got to the evening. It was now about
that's right.
midnight.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've changed my mind.
Yeah. I feel like when you surround yourself, though, with really uplifting people that make you feel good about yourself, and it's not like they're going around complimenting you all the time, but just people that you enjoy their company, I feel like it's a total shift on what your inner voice is saying. And sometimes I think in grade school or in high school or even college, you can't really choose who you're hanging out with. But when you get to that adult stage, you really do get to pick your tribe and get to pick your social circle. And for me in particular, I feel like surrounding myself with people that are more similar to me, or ambitious, are good people that support each other. I mean, I have such a good group of, I have cool friends, guys.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's the best name for a podcast ever.
No, that is so cool because it makes you want to listen. You're like, who are those cool people?
And you know exactly what it is.
Yeah,
it's
I
cool
love that.
people.
Thank
It's
you.
very cool.
I created the name and I was telling people, and everyone thought it was the worst name ever.
You're wrong.
And I had one girlfriend that started laughing. I go, what? She goes, you say that all the time. And I truly do. I brag about my friends all the time because I'm very lucky that I have a lot of friends, and they're all cool. And not only have they accomplished a lot, but they're just good humans, which to me is more important. I'm from the Midwest, and I really appreciate that about people. So yeah, it was the only fitting name for me. I have cool friends.
I love that.
Okay, so if we're going to talk about keys to success, act confident, sort of act as if until you are.
Totally.
Have supportive, cool people around you. What else?
That's tough. I think waking up with a good attitude, really believing that the day is going to be good. I think things can happen throughout the day, and it's really not necessarily you can control everything, but you can control how you react to certain situations. And so for me, that's been a big thing, becoming an entrepreneur of, I don't know what this day is going to bring. I don't know what problems are going to arise, but knowing that I can take a deep breath and figure out how to handle the problem. Sometimes we don't have a leotard size that a girl ordered online. Okay, how do we fix this problem and, try and make everybody happy? Do we give a redone? Do we do this? You can do everything in your power and still not be the right solution. And so knowing in your heart that you have great intentions throughout the day, I think that is really, really powerful, of knowing that you had the intention of good intentions, if that makes sense.
So where's your intention, where did that come from? This drive, this intention to make a difference, to change, was it always innate in you?
I don't know. I first decided I wanted to go to the Olympics when I was 5 years old.
Okay, so very young.
Yeah, I think I just came out of the womb a little bit like this. My parents always said I was like an adult stuck in a little kid's body. And I made the national team when I was 12 years old. And so just in that environment, in traveling across the world, competing for my country at age 12 to 16, you're kind of forced to grow up a little bit and figure out what's important to you and take ownership of your life and waking up early, whereas most kids are still being, their alarm is their parents or something like that. And so, I told people I wanted to go to the Olympics when I was 5, but ironically I was really bad at gymnastics, and I was just this cocky little kid that I didn't know anything else. I didn't know it was going to be hard. I just thought you get to pick what you do, and you wake up and you're that person. And so lucky for me, I made that goal before I knew how hard it was going to be. But I'm pretty true to my word and stuck with it. And even through the hard days, I had this undenying belief in myself that I would go to the Olympics.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so do the rules that you learned through becoming an Olympic athlete apply to business, and if so, how?
That is
Oh
a
my
great
gosh.
question.
Thank you.
Ooh, That's a good one.
Absolutely. I think sports is a great way for kids to learn life lessons. I'm biased. I think gymnastics is one of the toughest sports in the entire world. It's 4 sports in one. There's so much about discipline and commitment that you need to become a good gymnast, which is very true for a business owner. But ironically, when I started out with Beam Queen Boot Camp, I was having really frustrating days. I didn't know how to do things. I was down on myself. I had a negative self-talk. I was losing sight of the vision. There was all these things that I was going into the rabbit hole. And one day I started laughing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've already done this. I've already learned how to have a positive voice, how to wake up and act as if and pretend to be confident and pretend that I know what I'm doing until I actually do. And so I kind of laughed, and every once in a while I still have to give myself a pep talk, which ironically is the same pep talk that I give to the girls that I'm teaching. But it's good to give yourself a good pep talk, every once in a while, because life's hard sometimes, especially when you're trying to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. We always
You guys
ask,
are like,
we're
yeah,
we know,
we've
we
been
know.
there.
We always ask our guests what are some of their setbacks and sacrifices on their journey, but I'm interested with you of what are some of the highlights? What does it look like when you're living your best life, when you're actually living the dream, aside from having very cool friends?
Yeah.
What are some of the cool things that you get to do?
With the boot camps?
No, with your life.
All of it.
Like you've made it.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? What does success look like now?
Wow, you just said I made it.
I
It's funny
think you
because
made it.
I'm always, once you achieve one thing, you're like, what's the next thing?
Yeah.
And so,
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah,
That's
always
the key
looking
to
for the next,
success.
like-
totally. So taking a second to appreciate
Yeah.
what you have accomplished along the way. I mean, a year ago, I dreamt of being where I am right now. And so
Being
that's
here on this
really,
couch?
Yes.
I
Yes.
know.
Right when I met him,
manifested.
I knew. I was like,
She's like,
one
I see
day-
a couch.
I see a
I'm not
couch.
sure where it is. It's weird. We're sitting.
Yeah. No, but for me, it's getting to travel to cool places. Being a gymnast for 21 years, you can't really travel or take vacations because you have to be in the gym so consistently. So that was always really special for me in my future career. I wanted to be able to travel to cool places. Last year I went to Alaska and I got to see a whale. This year I just went to Maine for the first time. Last year I went to Paris and Spain. And so just being able to travel and see different cultures and meet different people. I'm such an extrovert and a people person that I really feel like riches are in experiences and the people that you get to do them with. And so that was really important for the boot camps, that I get to hire my cool friends who happen to have been really amazing gymnasts themselves. And so we kind of get a fun weekend to hang out and to inspire these kids. So I kind of thought of my dream life, and Beam Queen Boot Camp really fell in line with everything that I wanted to do in my career, but also social life too. It's kind of your work and fun at the same time.
Yeah, totally.
Which it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, even our businesses, we'll just work together side by side just because.
It's just so great when someone's
So
on your
fun.
same frequency of motivation and vibe, you get more done, and it becomes joyful for the day of what am I going to create
Yes.
today or make, or what business am I going to do? It's
And
so
you have the
pleasurable.
power to do anything you want. And so for me, it was funny. I was talking to someone. I don't have a hobby really, so I'm trying to.
My hobbies are my baby businesses.
Yes,
I feel like
yeah.
these are my hobbies.
Do you remember when I tried ukulele? I tried.
Yeah, that was a good
I tried.
hobby.
Yeah. it was
I'm taking ideas. So if you guys have any ideas for
Ukulele
hobbies,
Essential
Not that
oils.
great.
I got into essential
Essential
oils
oils,
as a
okay.
hobby, but now I've gone mad for them, and now I'm
a
making
bit
my
of a
own potions.
business
Now it's like a bit of a.
Wow.
I can't help it.
Cooking, I kind of do that.
Roasting chickens is a hobby. I love
I
roasting
roast chickens even when I know I won't eat it.
Yeah,
Really?
That's a great hobby.
who do you give them to?
Sometimes my boyfriend, sometimes my cat. It's a great question.
I didn't know cats eat chicken.
Oh,
They
mine
do.
does. Oh, yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
random bits and pieces. And then we were looking at this thing, we into holistic healing. We wanted to become, Anna was
Sound
going to become a
healers.
sound.
I still am.
We were going to have sound
Okay.
healers. You're going to become a meditation healer.
That happens.
And then we
Got
found
over
this
it.
amazing guy in San Diego who does sound healing, frequencies of the brain.
Wow.
Things
Might
like that
get-
are cool to get into.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you want
cool.
stuff like that.
Yes.
Tarot cards, we were talking about that earlier.
Yes.
Anything to do with witching stuff, those are great hobbies.
Wow.
Gardening. I garden and I live in an apartment with no
I don't.
garden.
I know.
gonna
I
say,
don't
I
get
don't
where
have
you
a
do it.
garden.
Yeah.
Because I get lots of different pot plants and then sometimes big ones, and I repurpose them.
I kind of think how we were talking about somersault isn't what we think it is. I think gardening is not what you think it is. Just because it happens outside.
Just because you bought a plant at IKEA that's not real doesn't mean
What?
that it's
Oh my
gardening.
god!
Yeah.
Lauren.
Okay, so let's just maybe change gardening.
Yeah.
Decorating.
Planting.
Decorating. Decor.
Planting, yeah.
Planting. You're not
planting.
sure what's going to come out of it, but you did it.
Yeah.
So.
So if you had to look at your life and say, was there any one major setback or catalyst that you feel is driving you extra, like that extra oomph? What would it be?
Really great question. I don't really believe in failures. I think that the word failure is so negative, and there are setbacks, I believe, but I think that you wouldn't be in the place you are now without those experiences, if you will. So I don't really believe in that word regret, or I wish I could go back and change something, because I think your life is supposed to be on a path that you're on now for a reason. But when I was at the Olympics, it was the biggest meet in my entire career. I've wanted to go to the Olympics since I was 5. About a month before we left for China, a couple weeks before, I tore my meniscus. And so they weren't sure if I was gonna be able to even go. They were gonna have to call in the alternate, and so they gave me 2 options. They're like, it's not gonna get worse if you train on it, so you have two choices. You can train and it can be painful, or you can go home and we can call the alternate in. So, duh. I mean, there's only one option there in my eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I got there, it was the morning of the competition, and it was 5 minutes before we walked out to compete, and I busted my ankle. I tore every ligament in my ankle that you could possibly tear 5 minutes before the biggest meet of my entire life. And so, you know, my heart was crushed, and at that moment, it wasn't about me, it was about the team. And so I was freaking out that I kind of feel like I let the team down. They were all frazzled 5 minutes before we walked in, and so you know, doing whatever I could do to make them feel comfortable. I still competed one event, so I competed bars, and I nailed it. So I did obviously compete at the Olympics and help my team in that way, but it wasn't, individually speaking, as successful as I wanted it to be. And so I think taking that experience and learning from it, and learning how to be adaptable and be that cheerleader and be that person, utility player that everybody needs on a team, was such a life lesson in itself. And kind of coming back to high school, I was going to be a junior in high school when I came back from the Olympics, and kind of trying to find my identity of, okay, my identity doesn't always have to be wrapped up in me being a gymnast. I can be anything that I want to be.
Beautiful.
It's just one chapter of my life. And so kind of recognizing that life lesson at such a young age, I think has been really powerful and empowering for me now to be able to accomplish whatever I want. You know, if I want to pick up another business, or if I have a different hobby, I feel like I can do that and be successful at it because of everything that I learned throughout going through elite gymnastics, because it was so intense.
I love why also just you mentioned looking at the team and the greater community. I've got this friend in South Africa, her name is Pride, my pride and joy, and she speaks about there's like Batman and Robin, and everyone wants to be Batman, but everyone needs a Robin. And sometimes it's not your time to shine or you be the main person, but you can still then support the team or support the community, and it doesn't all have to be about you. And you know what, also, just to go full circle, the reason I think we thought she was so cool, she is if you're not here anymore, it's like your SheEo, is because like even your podcast is about having cool friends. You are so keenly aware of uplifting others and shining a light on them that it makes yours just brighter.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Very well
and actually,
said.
a funny story. So after I got hurt, before I came to, or before I went to the Olympics, the national team coordinator, who is Jim, told me that she really didn't want to send me home because I was the popular one on the team. So I always joke that I made the Olympic team being popular, but I was the one, you know, friends with everyone and kind of the peacemaker between the team. And so that was kind of my role then. And I really like that role and take that in my friendships throughout life now. So it's kind of funny.
We got to do the word game. We got to wrap up.
Okay, we're going to give you a word and you're going to tell us if you had to become this thing. So not your favorite, but what you are. So if you were a food, what food would you be?
Strawberry.
Piece of clothing.
Sports bra.
A superhero.
I don't know, superheroes.
I know. I would be really
tricky.
stuck on that
Wonder
one.
Woman, Powerpuff Girl.
Oh, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get to say it.
A scent. What would
scent?
you smell like? A scent.
Oh, I thought you said a saint. I was like, oh, Mother Teresa.
No, I don't know about scent. No, a scent.
I think like sultry.
Oh, nice. Sultry scent.
A sultry,
Great.
like more
sound.
masculine.
A sound.
A sound. Country music.
Oh, lovely. And what would you taste like if you became something people could eat? What would that be?
Mezcal.
What's that?
I don't know.
Mezcal? It's
Oh,
tequila?
It's a,
that's
it's a
why.
smoky tequila.
Oh, there you are. That's intense.
Yeah.
Is
surprising
that funny
answer.
that that's the first thing that came to
Surprising answer. It says
Surprising.
everything. We need to do a second interview.
Yes, you should know about that. So if you'd like to binge watch any more SheEO shows and find out more incredible guests like we had today, then you can head on over to sheeoshow.com.
Or follow us on Instagram at SheEo TV.
SheEO Show.
I have a mental block. By the way, this has been SheEO with Lauren Wallet.
And with Anna David.
See you next
soon.
time.